Today on the Jeremy Awakens podcast, we have an absolute legend in the building. Jordan Poyer is a two-time Pro Bowl safety in the NFL. He's played for the Buffalo Bills. He's currently on the Miami Dolphins. And this podcast episode is absolutely incredible because not only do we talk about Jordan's journey as a professional athlete, but we also talk about his journey with addiction and alcoholism and his spiritual awakening with plant medicine. And this conversation is going to open your heart, open your mind to so many possibilities. And I'm so excited for you to dive in to this episode with the one and only Jordan Poyer. All right, so to introduce today's guest, I am using the assistance of ChatGPT, and we're going to see how accurate this is, all right? So today on the Jeremy Awakens podcast, we have an absolute legend in the building. Not only is he one of the most dominant safeties in the NFL, I thought you were a corner.
I came in as a corner. I did.
Okay.
I do play safety, yes.
But he's also a man who has walked a deep path of self-discovery, resilience, and transformation. Jordan Poyer is a Pro Bowl safety for the Miami Dolphins, known for his relentless work ethic, leadership, and ability to change the game in an instant moment. But beyond the field, Jordan's journey has been just as powerful. One of overcoming adversity, battling addiction, and stepping into a new level of consciousness. After years of navigating the pressures of professional sports, he made the courageous decision to get sober in 2020, turning his life around and inspiring countless others along the way. Today, he's not just a force on the field. He's an advocate for mental health, healing, and personal growth. He's explored the world of plant medicine, mindset shifts, and deep inner work, using his platform to spark conversations that truly matter. Jordan Poyer, my brother, welcome to the show.
ChatGPT wrote that?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's really cool. I didn't know that's everything that I am, I guess, right? And more. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Is there anything in that bio that you want to add? Like, who is Jordan Poyer?
I'm a father. I'm a husband, brother, son. I have a beautiful family. My wife, Rachel, very supportive of me and my journey. And my daughter, Leah, she's just the angel, my little angel. She's 8. And, my brother, he's 30, lives out here in South Florida with me. He's along this journey with me as well. My mom, Julie, she's on this journey with me as well. Actually, my pops, Vallejo, he's going to come sit with me with some plant medicine in a couple months. So I'm really excited about that. So it's been really cool to get my family tapped into this new level of consciousness. And, you're a huge part of that too, because I've saw your journey, and, I've admired, yourself and, a lot of abilities to overcome, certain things and certain obstacles in your life. So I appreciate you for doing the work. I appreciate you for having me here. It's a blessing to be here. And so I'm ready to get into it.
Hell yeah, bro. And I appreciate that. Most people watching, listening, they know you for what you've done on the field, right? They know you for your career in football. And my intention for this podcast is really to give people the opportunity to see all parts of you and to really document parts of this journey that a lot of people aren't familiar with. Because even just in the brief time connecting with you, bro, like, you're such a deep, multi-dimensional man. And I feel like everyone deserves the gift of getting to know you better. And that's why I really wanted to have this conversation. So I actually want to start off just childhood. Football obviously is what you're known for most. When did that passion begin? And I'm also curious, when was the moment where you felt like, yo, dog, I can actually make it to the fucking NFL?
I don't ever think that there was that moment, which I think is what was cool because it did keep me hungry. But to start it off, like, I grew up with, my mom and dad. My mom's white. My dad is Polynesian. I never met my real father. He's African American. Never met him, but I grew up in the Polynesian culture, which was different, right? I'm a half white, half black kid, and I have a white mom, Samoan dad, and a half white, half Samoan brother. So like it was kind of a weird breed of people growing up. And we grew up in a small town, Astoria, Oregon. It's not a lot of people really know where Oregon is, so it's above California. And even Oregon is just north of Portland. About 12,000 people. Everybody knew everybody. So, my parents both were juvenile delinquent counselors. And so, I didn't really get away with a whole lot of stuff growing up. They're both pretty strict as parents, which helped me become the man that I am today. My dad was sports everything. My mom was sports everything, but my dad, I got my talent from my mom. She was a 3-sport athlete in college, which is crazy. But my dad, he saw the talent in me, and he worked with me a lot. With my technique, my fundamentals, just my athleticism. Every Sunday we were out on the field, on the track, running hills, throwing the football, doing something.
What age did that start at?
That's probably started at like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Right? And I mean, probably earlier than that, but just I have the earliest memories of, pulling the sled when I was 6 years old with my dad, and him just yelling at me like, come on, like, hurry up.
And youth football, for those that don't know, like youth football in Oregon, I don't think is such a big deal, right?
No, it isn't. It isn't. And it really still isn't until, there's not a lot of athletes that come out of Oregon, let alone that play football. There's a couple, myself and Ndamukong Suh, Al Afalava, came from Oregon. Troy Polamalu. He went to high school in Oregon. And there's a couple guys, but like where I'm from, no, sports wasn't, you don't ever think of somebody coming out of Astoria, Oregon playing sports, right? In my head and at the time, like I always knew like I can be something. I don't know what it was going to be, but like my athleticism is a lot better than a lot of these other kids out here. Why don't I just use that to my advantage? That's just, the little me thinking of how I can use my athleticism and create something with my life. My dad always pushed me, and, sports, we won the state championship in high school, won in baseball and football. We were 16-0 in football my senior year. I was a quarterback, so and I played offense and defense. And ironically, we played our state championship game at the college that I ended up going to, Oregon State. So our game was on that field, Research Stadium, and we ended up beating one of my good friends, Gabe Linehan, his team Banks, and ended up winning the state title. And it was a really cool feeling. But like sports had always just been everything that I had always known. Baseball, I remember coming home from football practice actually one day, and I told my mom, like, Mom, I don't want to play basketball this year. And my mom looked at me dead in the eye. Well, if you're not going to be playing basketball, what do you think you're going to be doing? I was like, I don't know. I just kind of want to hang out and rest and, get ready for baseball season. No, that's not what your life's going to be like if you don't play basketball. You're going to be coming home from school. You're going to be doing your homework. You're going to be doing chores. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just play basketball. Basketball was my least favorite sport. I only played it because I was athletic and I can go out there. Like, I didn't have a left hand. Like, I could just be stronger and more athletic than everybody else.
Yeah.
But sports was just all growing up, that's all I knew. And from a small town, there's really not a whole lot of talent there. I didn't really see the talent until I got to college, right?
I'm curious to know. So, you were just talking about, the dynamic with
my parents.
No, exactly. So it seems like your parents poured a lot of love and discipline into you. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's one of the greatest privileges and gifts that any kid can receive. And sometimes that love is going to be tough love.
Right.
But every kid needs that level of structure, attention, and love and discipline when they're younger. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you got a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I look back and I'm so proud of, my parents because, since then they have both split. And, during those times even of, me being in high school and then even my brother going through, my brother's 4 years younger than me. And, them being there for us when they didn't necessarily weren't there for each other. Like they were in a time where, it was once my brother got to college or once my brother got out of the house, it was like, hey, they knew they were going to split up, but they stuck together for us. And that gave, I look back and, that's probably hard enough. That's probably 7 years of sticking together. Maybe you don't really have to, but they did it for us and to make sure that we got the love that we deserved. And, I see that, and I thank them all the time. And, I want to pour that same thing into my daughter, because that is important. Just like you said, I think that structure of that family, that whether that masculine and that feminine love to, a child, to let them know, one, that they are loved, and two, that they care, and two, that this is what it looks like, right? No matter what they're going through in their own life, right? They were there to love me and to pour into me. And
I feel like there's a lack of that now too, like a lack of masculine mentorship and leadership in the world, especially for the youth.
Absolutely.
Like the amount of children that are growing up in single family households is insane.
Absolutely.
And I think you just embodying that and leading by example is such a powerful thing for people to witness. What was the relationship dynamic like when you were growing up with your parents? Was it peaceful, loving, or was it more chaotic?
It was a little bit of everything. My mom was super, super competitive. I remember beating her in chess for the first time ever. I finally beat her in chess. She was so mad that she threw one of her chess pieces at the board, at the chessboard, and it hit off the chessboard, and it came and just hit me right in the eye, dude, right in the eyeball.
How old were you?
I had to be 12 or 13. And just but that was it's crazy that I never forget that, and that always sticks with me, because that just shows she hated losing. She hated losing more than she liked winning, which is something that has stuck with me in the way that I had gone about into the world. I hated losing more than I liked winning. And so I was going to do everything that I could not to have that losing feeling, right? And I put that in the way I worked out, the way that I played the game, all of that. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen that way, but that edge that she had right there, that stuck with me. I liked that, right?
That's dope.
But both my parents, they were both, again, like I said, they were juvenile delinquent counselors. So it was, they weren't, Army sergeants, but at the same time, it was Jordan, you got, practice, be home at, 15 minutes after practice. You got 15 minutes to be home after practice. Don't be dilly-dallying around after practice. Get you back home. Get up. I had to get my brother up for school. It was I had certain things that I had to get done in order for me to say, on the weekend when I had a couple hours to go do what I wanted to do. But I did have a structure. They gave me a certain structure, and I had to be disciplined by that structure. And which I that's what I'm saying. I'm so thankful for both of them to have that balance and that love in my life and that structure in my life to, and at the time you look back and I'm damn, why can't I just go out with my friends? After we just played on a Friday night, we just won. Why can't I go out? I'm 15 years old. And
do you ever feel like you got some of your childhood taken away from you in some ways, or no?
No, because I even look back, I look at where I'm at now and compared to, where a lot of those guys that were going out and were doing all that stuff, and I look at kind of what they're doing. Not saying anything's wrong with what they're doing, but a lot of them are still kind of stuck in a similar loop as when we were in high school, just kind of the same cycle over and 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 over.
Yeah.
Again, you feel me? And it's just I go back to my hometown and I still see some of the same people doing some of the same things. And it's are we not elevating? Are we not? And so me, it's in order for you to gain something has to be taken away. And so that was for me to gain, an awareness, call it, or even just an edge or whatever that may be, whatever that gain may be, me not going out, me being at home while everybody's doing that was what I had to be taken away.
Yeah. So that recruiting process outside of high school, you must be a big fucking deal in Astoria, Oregon, right? It's a town of 12,000 people. I went to college at U of O, so that's another point of synchronicity for us. I went to University of Oregon. Yeah. You went to Oregon State. You graduated 2013, right?
Yeah, I did not graduate yet, but that was my year that I left. I got drafted in the NFL in 2013. So,
I was going to ask you, did you get strongly recruited out of high school? Did Oregon recruit you?
It's a tough subject, you know. Chip Kelly, that was Chip Kelly's first.
Big balls, Chip.
Yeah. So I did get recruited, not heavily. You know, it's a little salty subject because I did want to go to U of O more than Oregon State. I wanted so bad to get, you know, to have all those colorways and all those jerseys. It was just so much cooler. It was just so much swaggier, all the above. But they never offered me a full ride scholarship. They did offer me to come on as a walk on.
Really?
Yeah, they offered me to come on as a walk on. Oregon State offered me a full ride scholarship. So I mean that was a pretty easy go to Oregon State. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was I'm going to take the money and have my school paid for. And you know, I look back and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I could have gone to other schools, you know, a couple other schools to play baseball, a couple other schools to play football. Because again, baseball was a passion of mine too.
What did you play? Center field?
I was an outfielder. I couldn't play the infield. Could not play the infield. But I could track the ball down. I had a pretty good arm. And so I played 2 years at Oregon State, actually, football and baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they're nasty at baseball.
They're really good at baseball. Coach Riley over there and that staff, and just seeing it, that was a cool part of my journey too, because I couldn't hang my grades wise. I was struggling in school. Not struggling in school, but playing football and baseball, I couldn't figure out the balance, and I didn't have anybody just doing my homework. This just wasn't my lifestyle. But you know, those lessons of playing those 2 years of baseball and seeing that operation and, you know, meeting the guys that I was able to meet, it was really cool. But I loved football way more.
Yeah.
Football was my heart.
What was it about football? Is it the camaraderie? Is it about just fucking hitting people, the adrenaline? Yeah. What is it about football that always resonated?
It was always the big plays, right? The adrenaline from the big plays, and it was a medicine that you couldn't replicate, you know, out in the real world. That, you know, whether you know, big hit or a pick six or a sack or, you know, just a good game feeling, right? Those were just things that you couldn't replicate in the real world that I loved. And, you know, it was part of what I loved about the game. Yeah, the camaraderie is amazing. You meet people that, you know, friends for the rest of your life. You know, I still have friends from high school, from some college, from the NFL, each team that I've had. But, you know, along that journey, I just loved playing the game, the game itself. And but the game's changed, you know, and
I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, the game.
I'm excited to talk about that.
Talk about that for
Jordan,
sure.
It's crazy, bro, because I feel like Oregon really would have valued from having someone like you in their locker room, because my experience, I was actually in the Barnhart dorms freshman year. I was one of the only non-athletes that were in the athlete dorms, just how it happened. And I was homies with a lot of the players the freshman year. And one of my friends, Deontay Jackson, top recruited receiver out of the Bay Area, and was it was a very big deal that Oregon got him. 6'4", just the perfect build for a receiver. Julio Jones meets Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
All the athleticism, all the tangible gifts. But he came from Oakland, comes to Oregon, redshirted his freshman year because of some injuries, I think. And the women, the partying, and it just got the best of him.
Yeah.
And I saw that happen to so many amazingly talented players there, bro. And I think it's a big reason why you don't see a lot of Oregon Ducks in the NFL crushing it. I've thought about this. I'm Oregon's been a contender for the last 10 or 15 years, yet so few of these star players they had, whether it's LaMichael James, Kenyon Barner, Cash Harris, none of the quarterbacks. Mariota, I thought would be a stud in the league, but he didn't really do much. It's interesting, and I think that's probably part of the culture. What do you think that is?
I think it could be a couple dynamics, because, you know, when you say a guy like Marcus Mariota, he has been in the league for a long time, a well-respected player that's been in the league for a long time. I believe has the mental capacity to, you know, handle a lot of things and a lot of obstacles that the league and football throws at you. But and not even discussing Oregon in general, but just like you think about just like the mental capacity of a 16, 17, 18-year-old, you know, just in general. But then you throw the talent on that 16, 17, 18-year-old, and you give him, you know, he's yes, has all the talent in the world, has all the tangibles in the world to be whoever he wants to be, to you know, be a Hall of Famer, okay? And then you throw him at Oregon, throw him at the University of Oregon, to where, you know, really that team, it relies on their talent, right? Like every position is their top probably 5 talented, you know, positions in the country, right? But then like that'll win a lot of games in college. That'll win a lot of games. But then you transition to that, you get like, that's why I always say like talent only takes you so far, right? Like, because I've seen a lot of talent guys come into the league, but really are so, you know, I don't even want to call it messed up, but just so cluttered in the head that they can't, you know, pick up a playbook and like run certain, you know, simple coverages, cover 3, cover 4, and understand where they're supposed to be when they need to be there. And like, yeah, I wish I could run a 4.4 and jump 40-inch vert, because I understand the game of football. There's a difference in like, yeah, going out there and just, hey, run fast and be talented and like create plays. Yeah, that'll take you to a certain level, but then there's another layer to it. It's just like living a life, bro. Like
that IQ level.
There's the IQ level.
Understanding the game.
Understanding the game that isn't being taught at the collegiate level, because especially now with the NIL, is you don't have enough time to just teach kids and invest into your team, because that team is going to be totally different the next year. And then even, I mean, you go to the league now, each team is different the next year. You don't have time to just teach a kid how to play cover 4, how to play cover 3, where your eyes are supposed to be at when you're playing cover 4, when your eyes are supposed to be at, what's the technique you're supposed to have when you're playing cover 2. It's just, hey, Jeremy, go out there and run cover 2 and use your athleticism, and you know you got go use your athleticism to make a play. Like, that is crazy to me.
Yeah. You
feel me? Like that's where the product is level. I feel like the product on the field has been going down, and I don't think anybody can argue that. And even over the next 10 years, it might dwindle even more, because the game isn't necessarily being coached anymore. We're saying, hey kids, go out there and run my scheme, because my scheme works. You go out there and run the scheme. Use your talent. You're talented. You can jump high, run fast, run my scheme, and go out there and this will work. You're not teaching like why my scheme. I'm not teaching you why my scheme works, or why we should run cover 4 in this situation instead of running cover 2. These are just easy layman's terms that I'm pulling out.
Yeah.
But like that's what the game's turning into.
I have a question. So you've been in the league 12 years at this point. Most of your life has been dedicated to the game. You clearly love the game, right? And obviously your relationship with the game is changing, right, as your career progresses. I'm curious to know, in your opinion, how many players that come into the league genuinely love the game of football versus love what the game of football gets them, whether it's the fame, the women, the money, the material things.
I mean, in my opinion, I would probably, 50-50, probably. I mean, I don't think that, I think I'll take that back. Cause like, to me, I look back and the 12 years that I played, like I absolutely love the game. I don't know how somebody can not love the game and play that long and like not love the game, you know, like, because it's hard. Like, it's hard, bro. Like, it is every year and new obstacles. Just think, like, we were having a discussion downstairs, just different stuff being thrown at you all day, every day. And now in a era of social media and like everything being just zooming in your face, your lives are just being recorded all day, every day, like from the moment you wake up on game day, from the second you freaking go to bed. Like, it's just like, it's a show, like, get ready, like, you know. And so like mentally, like being able to handle all of that, like I feel like you have to me, I feel like in order to put everything I had in the game, I love this game. And so like a lot of people get a lot of zeros behind their checks, and yeah, that might be their motivation. And yeah, I got paid extremely well, but I always say like I worked extremely hard for every penny that I ever had. I'm not the fastest, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest. Like I look like a baseball player probably, but like I'm gonna go out there and be a fucking dog, and you gonna know that each and every freaking play. And that's just that was my mindset of how I had to play, just because I knew I wasn't the big name out there, I wasn't this, that, or the other, whatever you wanted to call it. That was just what my ego was feeding me. Like, hey,
you're in a place now where you're a veteran. There's few players in the league that actually have been in the league as long as you. Right? And I imagine you've probably taken on a little bit more of like a big brother mentorship role in some capacity in your leadership as it continues to evolve. Were there any players when you came in and you got drafted by Cleveland, were there any players that kind of showed you the ropes and like taught you how to be a professional and really took you under their wing?
Yeah, man. I mean, there were a few, and I learned from all of them, whether they took me under their wing or whether we were friends or whether they just didn't really even mess with me, right? But there was a couple like Joe Hayden, Jim Leonard, Tashawn Gibson, when I was in Cleveland that I really saw. And, Joe, I always joke around, like, Joe's one of the coolest rich people you ever meet, bro. Like, just got all the money in the world, bro, but it's just so down to earth and just wants to be around everybody, hang out, and make sure everybody's having a good time. And like, I remember coming in as a rookie, and I was like, bro, like if I ever like have enough money to like just feel whatever, I'm gonna be just like him, bro. Like I want to be just like him, bro. Like when I'm a vet and I've been in this thing, and like he's just so cool. And like Jim Leonard really taught me the game, learning how to understand the game of football. Like, and right now he's a defensive coordinator for one of the top schools in the country, and he really has put it up on a whiteboard, teach me like, yo, like, simplify the game, bro. Like, just slow your eyes down. Just look right here. It's your run pass key. When you get your run pass key, boom, now you know where to move. Like, and then to Sean Gibson too, just the way he's studying film, we'd be in there like, look, Poe. Look, quarterback's right here. Boom, on his third step, boom, go. Like, you don't got to take another step. On his third step, boom, go. You know where he's going. So, like, little things like that, like, then I'm able to pick up from all those guys. And all those guys, Dante Whitner, man, like, they used to call him Dante Hittner. But, like, I just love, watching him approach the game of football and just his mindset going into a game. And I took a little bit of all that and made it into my own, right? Like, I made it into Jordan, the athlete, the football player. I made all of that into my own, and it guided me to a beautiful 12-year career.
Yeah, Joe Hayden, I think he went to Florida, right?
Yeah,
he was like the top corner out of Florida. I remember that guy.
Yeah,
is he still in the league?
Nah, he's not. He's retired. He actually lives in California. In LA.
Oh, for real? Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. It's crazy how short the lifespan of a pro athlete is, especially one in the NFL. And I think a lot of people forget this. Like, you can be the number one pick in the draft. I mean, I'm a Raider fan, so I think of like Jamarcus Russell, one of the biggest busts and flops in the history of the game. But like, you can be the most talented player out of college. You can get drafted in the lottery in the NFL. And like, you might only make it a couple years due to getting drafted by the team with the wrong system or shitty ownership and leadership, or you get injured. And it's like, you can be 23, 24 years old, and your whole identity has been stripped away from you. And now it's like, okay, well, shit, what do I do now?
Right.
My whole life has been dedicated to this thing to get to this point in the league, and now it's just getting stripped away. And I think like the fact that I think it's crazy how little of the money in the NFL is guaranteed.
That's what we were just talking about downstairs.
It's like, it's crazy because I also grew up a baseball fan, and you'll have like a relief pitcher who pitches like a couple innings a week, and they get 8 to 10 million guaranteed, and their bodies and brains are not at risk every single day.
Right.
I want to talk about the moment, and I want to circle back to, for sure, like the alcohol, the sobriety and stuff like that at some point, I'm sure, and I trust that the dots will get connected exactly how they're supposed to. You mentioned that the event that really helped you awaken to the system and to the lies was the whole George Floyd situation back in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, that was a interesting times of being alive, right? George Floyd, the presidential election, and that was a time in my life where I was confused a lot about what the heck was going on in the world, who I was. And I just look back and I'm thankful of all of those lessons that I had gone through. But when he died, I was very hurt, and I was again very confused as to why this guy would just put his neck on this this African American in the street. And I'm half white, half black, and like I was feeling for the African American community, and I donated a lot of money towards that foundation, the George Fund Foundation. And it was something that was very unsettling about donating that money towards the organization that I was donating it to. And I followed that paper trail of money. It took me a few weeks after I saw a video of a young guy named Young Pharaoh online. And Young Pharaoh actually, he opened me up to a lot of stuff that was going on in the world that I really just was not even paying attention to. And at the time, like, I always said, like, oh, I don't care what's happening in politics. So just whatever's happening, as long as I'm over here partying, being able to party and do what I do, like, I don't care. They can go blow the other side of the world up. And then I started to pay attention, right? And I started to see the evil stuff that was happening in the world, man. Like, evil stuff, especially when I started to see stuff with, like, the children. And, like, my daughter, she was 4 at the time, 5 maybe, and I started to see the bad stuff happening in the world that I just, the real human soul in me was like, there's no way, like, a human being could be doing this and manipulating the world and manipulating the masses and making us think that this is what's all going on in the world, but, like, there's really a whole shenanigans going on over here. And, like, then I started to pay attention, right? I started to pay attention to how they just started to divide us, right? By race, and turn into by gender. How do we get divided by gender, right? Like by all sorts of different aspects of beliefs, of even call it sports. Freaking we're so divided in so many different ways. And it's a tactic, right? It's divide and conquer. It's make them hate each other so that, they don't see what's actually going on in the bigger picture. And it's been like that, right? And until, one group or one side finally is just like, yo, like, I love you. Whatever happened in the past, it's okay. Like, I love you. Let's move forward. Like, it's like in America, we like to play like this, like it's like, woe is me. Like, it's like a victim mindset. It's like, I'm in this situation because somebody else did X, Y, Z, right. Or I'm in this, something happened over there that put me here. And, like, we don't ever take enough ownership in me, in yourself, right? Like, and, like, you have that's what God gave us, the ability to choose. And, like, you have the ability to choose, like, right now, the way and the direction that you want your life to go. But you continue to live in those negative beliefs and those whatever thoughts that are not serving you, that's not allowing you to move in the direction that you should be moved. I mean, we go on another deeper level. God's guiding us all the time. Like, God is with us all the time. We just got to pay attention.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you just said too about, like, the victimhood mindset. And, obviously we just had an election recently, and I'm happy that Trump won the election and brought people in like RFK. And with that being said, I think there's people that are like, oh, everything's good now. Trump's president. Right. I'm taken care of. It's like, no. Trump is not going to change your nutrition. Right. Trump is not going to change your habits. Right. All right. Trump isn't going to get your ass in the gym. Trump isn't going to make you be more present and more intentional with your living. You are responsible for your life.
Absolutely.
And your reality. And I think there's a lack of that. And that's why I think like your journey and your story is so powerful. What was the experience like, you know, obviously the George Floyd thing and finding out the paper trail and finding out some of the corruption there. And that probably opened your eyes to other shit that was happening. Mm-hmm. And that was right in the thick of COVID. And there's very few people that were getting pushed to get the vaccine more than pro athletes. Mm-hmm. And you didn't get the vaccine.
Did not.
And I'm curious to know, what was that journey like for you? What was the reaction from teammates, from family, from media, and how did that impact you?
I'm so thankful that me and my family like stood on what we were standing on. And like at the time, like a lot of people obviously thought you're a conspiracy theorist. You just think like, you know, you think you know more than the other people. You think, you know, like whatever variable that is. And I just knew in my heart, like, this is wrong, right? And like my family knew that this is wrong. And like there was no way. My daughter has never been vaccinated, not one time of her life. I have not seen her sick one time. She's the most healthy child, beautiful child I've ever seen. And she's never been stuck with a needle, not one time of her life. Mm-hmm. And so like, you know, like to me, it's just like, that whole thing was crazy because I live down here in South Florida, and I also have a home in New York, and obviously two night and day sides on the political spectrum. And at the time, it was night and day sides, red versus blue. It was like, oh my gosh, like this is insanity. So I'd go up there to New York, and you know, I'd go walk through the store, and everybody, hey, can you please put your mask up? And it was just like, that's how you lived up there. And then I'd fly down here on the weekend, and you see a store, everybody's in the store, nobody's even wearing masks. People on the beach, people were in the restaurants, and then I go back up there, everything's shut down. It's like,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. No, it was insane, yo. And like, because it was during OTAs too, so we actually had practice and stuff. So I'd go out there, I'd fly up there during the week, and I'd fly back down here on the weekends. And people up there, the way that they thought the world was going on outside of New York, it was like might have been a bomb that hit off. There was nobody out in the streets. You know, people, if you were out, like I said, with your mask off, they would ask you kindly. Some people would, hey, actually yell at you, put your mask on. Just crazy, bro. And then obviously, you know, the NFL wanting to vaccinate and pressure, you know, players to get vaccinated because, you know, it would help whatever they thought. They put doctors in front of our faces to put pressure on us, and that presenting us all this information that is just inaccurate. And like I'm sitting here looking at these doctors and they're all Zoom meetings too. They never came and stood in front of us. So sometimes I think they might have been like AI robots, but like, no, they were like Zoom meetings sitting, and we'd have to sit in a classroom as they discussed.
Your whole team? Our
whole team. Why we needed to get vaccinated. Oh, mandatory meetings, bro. It was insanity, bro. Like I talk, like, and making the ones who didn't want to get vaccinated feel stupid, and feel like, they try to make everybody feel stupid. Like it was insanity. The information they presented us you couldn't even, like, there's no way like that data you presented us was accurate. And then you're presenting it into a bunch of 53 players. Half of them are asleep. Half of them don't care. I'm just listening like there's no way. And then, you know, most of those guys leave. Oh, I got information. Get vaccinated. Boom.
Was there anyone else on your team? I'm sure there
Cole
was.
Cole Beasley, my dog.
Cole Beasley, receiver, right?
Yes.
He was on the Cowboys before.
Yes.
Okay.
My dog.
So he's the only one that didn't get vaxxed?
No, there's a couple. Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, Ike Butker. We had like a nice little crew.
Did you guys get closer in that experience?
We definitely did.
Okay.
You know, because they made it for the unvaxxed. They call it was like, oh my God, like the unvaxxed. We had to get to work an hour early to take our vaccines every day, and then sit there for 30 minutes as they got the test. The vaccinated could eat upstairs in the cafeteria, the buffet food. The unvaxxed got box lunches. We had
Really?
Oh my God, bro. It was like, that's what I'm saying, bro. You talk about like I'm talking about like modern day slavery, bro. Like that's what I'm talking about, bro. It was a system for the unvaccinated within the building.
The unvaccinated were literally treated like second-class citizens.
It was crazy. You had a little bracelet that if you didn't wear your little bracelet and you were like if you were next to somebody who was vaccinated and you had an unvaccinated bracelet and you spent too much time around that person that was vaccinated, the unvaccinated would get fined money like $5,000 to $10,000 if you are just around, or if you don't walk with your tracer. They call them tracers. They had tracers on us if you were unvaccinated. If you like forgot to pick it up, you would get fined from the NFL you would get fined for not having a mask on in a meeting, bro. Oh my God.
How long did that last? Like
the whole year, that whole season, that entire season, and into the next year too. They tried to like going into that next season, trying to prevent the COVID to spread again. They presented us with all of those vaccine doctors, the same ones again. And I stood on it. I'm like, yo, like you guys are insane for trying to put this poison into my body that's unproven, that is just, I don't believe in, for one. Like I've never been vaccinated. Like I don't need to get vaccine.
Yeah.
Like why?
Jordan, did you find yourself like in that process, were there any teammates that were like, yo, like get the fuck away from me? Like in kinder words maybe? Or
at the start, yeah. Like at the start, right? Because everybody's joking about it. Oh, the fucking, the unvaccinated, I don't want to get sick. Like I'm going to go be over here. But like it's a joke. But at the same time, like there's a deeper level to that, right? Like there's a deeper level to even just joking about that. Like what are we joking about, yo?
Yeah.
Like what are we actually joking about? Are you serious?
On the other side, I'm sure there was also fans and people that weren't even aware of you that found out that you were standing up for your health and freedom, and they're like, yo, you're a fucking legend, you're a hero.
Bro, I mean, there's so many people, bro. Like because again, there's not a lot of, there's a lot of actually conservatives in Western New York, and even people who push against the vaccine, but their voices aren't necessarily heard because the other side is overpowering in a sense. And so like there's so many people that were supporting me as I was on this journey, whether they write me in my messages, write me on Twitter, or even when I see them in person, right? Just thank you for standing up for what you believe in. And our family didn't want to get vaccinated either. Like this whole thing, I mean, it's crazy what they did to people. Like there's the mass manipulation behind just putting something in your body that's unproven to and I mean there's many reasons and theories but like just to even think that they can do that on a mass scale, like let's like become more aware, right? Like there's stuff happening, right? Like that was on a mass scale, and like that's not even like we're talking global. Able to do that. And so like let's start having some conversations about what's really going on.
What's wild, bro, is like your energy when we started shifting the subject of the conversation from football to these other bigger global issues, like your energy shifted.
Yeah, because it's important, bro. Like we're in the times right now. Like hello, like what are we doing here? Like what are we actually doing here?
Yeah. And I'm curious to know, so that was 2021, right? The George Floyd, the COVID stuff. Your first journey with ayahuasca. By the way, backtrack. I know you're very close with Aaron Rodgers now. And if anyone hasn't seen that Netflix documentary, I'm not even sure what it's called.
Enigma.
It's on Aaron Rodgers. I think it's 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's on episode 2. His journey with the plant medicine. But you should watch the entire thing.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm curious to know, were you boys with Aaron during the whole COVID stuff? And did he have a influence on you? Or did that happen after you guys immersed in plant medicine?
No, I wasn't boys with him, but I was also paying attention to him and like his stance as well. And his stance was similar to my stance. And so like, and then it came like probably a year later when I was more introduced to the plant medicine, even more so through him as well. He was speaking on a Pat McAfee show, speaking plant medicine about his trip with ayahuasca. And me, again, I'm very open-minded. A lot of people, one, were calling him crazy about his stance with the vaccine, and two, we're calling him crazy because he dabbles with ayahuasca and plant medicine. And me, I heard him speaking about it, and in my head, I'm just like, he knows something that I don't know. You know, like there's something about him. There's something about his aura. There's something about the way that he's answering it. In that season too, his football season that year, they weren't that good. But I saw his presence, and I saw the way that he answered questions, even in times of uncertainty, in times of doubt, and whatever that you want to call it, and his ability to have that presence about him. I knew he knew something that I didn't, and I wanted to know. I was curious, right? And so plant medicine, Mother Aya, she just kept calling me. She just kept calling me, and finally answered the call. Went down there and sat 3 beautiful ceremonies with a shaman named Pablo, my wife's cousin, Logan. Him and I, we rented out the entire retreat center for the week, and we had, again, 3 beautiful ceremonies, and sat in a temescal together, which is very powerful. And really, I mean, everything that I had already thought I knew, it just kind of put a stamp on, but then really kind of opened and shifted my mind into, obviously, a more spiritual world. And that being alive, because that was really never alive in me. And so, understanding what I had already understood, but also, taking the lessons from what I've seen in the unseen world and applying that to, what's going on in the world, and then also how I can move in my own world, right, and manipulate the energies and move in the matrix, because we're, believe it or not, like, we're in the system, and the system is here. And so, but having an awareness of the system and being able to now move through that system is what I've been able to gain. And it's an everyday journey, right? It's every moment, right? And so yeah,
I want to dive deeper into this, because like I told you, I think it's going to be, you're already doing it. And I think the more that you just continue pursuing this path and following your dharma and your purpose, bro, like, so many minds and hearts are going to open from your experiences, and you're just being a vessel. And it's beautiful to witness, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
It's beautiful to witness. Like, the way and it's hard, we can have a conversation on a podcast about ayahuasca and its benefits and the breakthroughs and all of the awakening that happens. And it's really one of those things that you have to experience for yourself to actually understand it. But the way that I describe ayahuasca is that it is the most intelligent teacher in the form of this sacred plant, right? And it gives you exactly what you need. And what you need is oftentimes different
from what you want.
Exactly. Yep. Right? And, I went in my first journey with an intention of, like, clarity and decisiveness and having direction on, like, the next step of my journey, right? And purpose. And ayahuasca just showed me a bunch of shit with my brother.
Yeah.
And all of these unhealed emotional wounds I had from my childhood that were affecting the way I was showing up energetically in my life today. And I wasn't even aware of those things. Right. And that is the power of these plant medicines, especially ayahuasca. It brings things to the surface that you're unaware of. And if you're unaware of something, how are you supposed to change it?
Right.
The first step of any change and transformation is awareness. And once you are aware of a certain problem or situation, that actually gives you the ability to use your free will and make a change that positively serves you and your future.
Right.
And I'm curious for you, like, what was the biggest profound shift or download that you had during those first ayahuasca ceremonies in Costa Rica?
Yeah, man. That was I love the way that you explain that, though. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful way to explain, the teacher, Mother Aya. For me, it was like you said, like it was kind of like peeling back those layers of an onion. And some of the stuff you are aware that you have issues and you need to fix, and then some that just come up through other things, that are, whether it be decisions that you've been making or whatnot. But, the biggest thing that it taught me initially was that God is all around, all around us right now, in so many different forms and so many different voices and so many different, in so many different elements, and to just pay attention and you'll see them, right? And it's obviously more than that, but before I went into it, and dealing with some of the alcohol issues that I had, people would tell me, yeah, just pray to God and you'll find your answers. And, I would, dear God, please help me, stop drinking. Dear God, please help me, be this, be that. But there's a connection that I wasn't getting, right? There was a connection to and now that I understand that, now I understand how to connect, right? I can connect. I can sit here and, we're connected right now, but I can connect through a breath. I can connect through meditation. I connect through sound. I can connect through just being present and just just paying attention to the signs, and listening to my thoughts, and then not judging the answers that come up, when certain signs come up, right? And it's just, a lot of it's too, letting go of your ego, right? We think we know all the answers. We think we have all the answers. We think, we don't need to become better. We think we are where we need to be. We think, all these things, and there's always ways to get better. There's always ways to evolve. There's always ways to grow. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're supposed to be growing, evolving, learning, connecting. And I'm not afraid to anymore. Whereas before, if I'm in a room and people are having a conversation and I don't understand something, hey, I don't really understand that, or I don't know. I'm not afraid to say I don't know, because I don't. Because I guarantee you, y'all don't know either. To be real, to be real, nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? If we're being honest, bro, nobody knows.
Yeah, so we're just doing the best we can.
We're just doing the best we can, bro.
Try to comprehend this human experience.
Figure it out, yo. Yeah. And so, that is some of the things I was able, when I came to those, thoughts under the medicine, bro, I, started crying, but I was laughing because it, nobody knows, bro.
Yeah.
We're just making shit up.
Yeah.
We're just making shit up as we go. So, no, I don't know. Can you help me, please?
That's one of the things, honestly, that caught my attention most just in our interactions and then meeting you was your humility. I was like, this dude is just fucking, so humble and, just a student and just wants to soak it in.
Everything, bro. Everything, bro. That's why I'm going to Brazil. So I'm going to Brazil next week. I
actually just had, dude, sorry to cut you off, but good. I've had a lot of downloads of just collaboration ideas during this conversation.
As we should be.
Because one of the things, and I want to talk to you about it later, but I'll just share it now, is I've been talking to two different ayahuasca retreat centers. Obviously, Rhythmia is well known, right, in Costa Rica. But then this other one that I really resonate with, they've been reaching out to me, and they're in Peru, and that's where I first did my experience. And I feel like there's something very sacred about the Amazon and just the energy of Peru. It has something that I don't think any other place offers.
Right.
And I'm seeing which one feels most aligned, because I want to bring my community to a place that I believe in, that's a safe space. And and I want to include you in these conversations.
Absolutely.
Because are you ready to feel limitless in 2025? I'm talking limitless physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, financially. This is your sign to try out microdosing For 30 days, we have a very special opportunity for podcast listeners. You can get started for only $222. This includes the medicine being shipped to you, the highest quality, fair trade, organic, sustainably sourced microdoses in the world at your doorstep. And you also get access to live group coaching calls with me, our private community. This is your sign to take ownership of your life in 2025. If you're ready, hit the link in the description, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. Yeah, and I want to include you in these conversations.
Absolutely.
Because we'll talk about it after.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it after.
Yes.
But this is another thing too about ayahuasca and plant medicine in general. I think so many people have fear of ayahuasca because they are fearful of all of the dark shit that might come up, right? The suppressed feelings, the suppressed emotions, the childhood trauma. And yes, some of that will come to the surface. And on the other side of the spectrum, I've seen countless people sit with ayahuasca and have a whole newfound clarity with their life's purpose, with the way that they show up in the world, reconnecting to their heart, getting out of their head. And understand, if you want to tap into that level of consciousness, you need to be willing to go through that darkness, right? And
Absolutely.
What's beautiful about ayahuasca is, again, one of the things people fear most about ayahuasca is the purging.
Right.
Oh my God, I don't want to throw up. Let me tell you something about purging while on ayahuasca. It is the most healing medicinal experience.
Absolutely.
You are releasing all of this suppressed emotions that you've been holding on to, all of the lower vibrations that have been stealing away your power. That's what's getting released when you purge. So purging is not getting sick. Purging is actually getting well.
Absolutely.
And that, once you can kind of lean into that and understand, like, okay, like, yes, everything that's happening for me during this experience is exactly what I need to transcend and to elevate. And then the other thing I'm going to say, Jordan, before I throw it to you, I know I'm going off on that tangent, is I want to make something very clear too, because obviously we're both huge advocates of plant medicine. But bro, I know people who have sat with ayahuasca countless times who can't find their fucking keys. Their life is still in shambles. They can't be in a healthy relationship. They're not connected to their purpose. And I think the reason for that is because a lot of people are chasing these highs with these different medicines. They're chasing this next divine download, but they're not actually making any changes in their life. They're not doing any integration. And I really want to emphasize this. If anyone is considering sitting with ayahuasca or mushrooms or any other psychedelic plant medicine, whatever it may be, the real work is after the fact.
Right. Absolutely.
The real fact is like doing that work and implementing these changes and taking action right away, every single day, to make improvements. And I just think it needs to be mentioned because I think there's a lot of people in the spiritual community who think that because they've done 64 ayahuasca ceremonies or they've done mushrooms over 100 times, they're this spiritual guru. Not at all. If you need to chase the medicine that often, I believe you're actually disrespecting the medicine because you're not actually integrating the lessons that it's giving you. And I think it just needs to be said because I don't think enough people are having that conversation.
It needs to be said in stamps, right? There's so many angles you can go here, but one of the lessons that I've learned is like when you're drinking a cup of aya, you're just drinking a cup of yourself. You know, ayahuasca has all the ingredients and that we already have inside of our bodies. So when you're drinking ayahuasca, you're just enhancing what you already have inside of your body. So like in intense breath work that you've done, or not all, plant medicine is a tool, right? And it is a tool that gives you other tools to when you integrate into the real world. And like, it's like I always say, when you go back from sitting with the medicine, it's not like when you go back, all your problems just go away, right? But now you're more equipped with the tools that you learned under those ceremonies, in those ceremonies, to handle and move the energies in the world. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, those energies are going to keep coming at you. You know, those negative things are going to keep coming at you. But now you have the clarity how to, when you see that negative energy come at you, how to move, how to dodge, or even how to shift it and move it with love, right? And then throw it back with love and throw it back with gratitude, right? But like, I always say, like, okay, as an athlete, we always train our muscles. We train all of our, our hip flexion, all of our muscles to perform on Sundays. Well, part of, our minds are one of our biggest, what am I trying to say? Like, your brain is your most powerful tool that you have as a human. So, but we don't train our brain enough, right? Like, and so, like, when you come back and you don't meditate and you don't sit with yourself and you don't ground yourself and you just go back into the world expecting, the world to kind of just shift and move out of your way because you just sat with plant medicine, like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to come back and integrate those lessons and tools into the world. So, like, when you go to work and Betty, it's on a Monday and Betty's about to yell at you because you don't have the papers done, but you know that already. And so you go in there and Betty yells at you, and normally you would act at Betty like, Betty, F off, I'm not going to do those papers when I do it. But now Betty yells at you, hey, Jordan, I need those papers done. Hey, Betty, how's your day? I love you. I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to get those papers done to you as soon as possible. I promise. Boom. Now you move in a world of love. Like, you move in a world of, and now with the ball's in her court. Now she just felt all that love hit her. Like, oh, he just hit me with all this love. Like, what up? Like, her soul is saying this, like, right? Like, her soul understands it. Like, all of our souls understand the vibrational frequency of love, gratitude, and then the low ones of hate, shame, guilt. Our soul understands those vibrations. And so when you put that out into the world and you put those vibrations of love, joy, gratitude, the universe understands love language. It's gonna respond back to you in ways you can't even imagine. That's God. We're in a game, yo. Like, we're in a game. Like, it's like, level up your game by leveling up your consciousness and just paying attention, and then just putting love out into the world and putting joy out into the world, and watch how the universe works. Like, bro, to be sitting here on a podcast with Jeremy Awakens, talking about some mushrooms with Awaken on here, bro, and like with my feet off, bro, like, or my shoes off. Like, come on, bro. Like,
I'm glad your feet ain't off.
Look at the universe. Yeah, my feet ain't off, but like,
yeah.
Look at the universe. Like, I'm not saying like. But it's just like we let's just become more aware of ourselves, like, and our thoughts, and create a world that we love, like, and that we want to be part of. Like, that's why I'm using my platform to try to help empower people. Because again, like, before I stepped into the space, the idea of psychedelics, or the idea of plant medicine, the idea of meditation, the idea of sound healing was all woo woo to me. Like, and it wasn't because of anything other than my lack of education and my lack of awareness towards it. And I think that people like you, people like myself, can bring that awareness and bring that education and change that conversation, right? Because we need to become more aware of ourselves. With that, there are certain modalities that we can do to doing that, and connecting with ourselves. And yeah, a lot of us, like you were talking about, I think in the Western world, our view of plant medicine is to heal, yes. But then you look, because the Western world is conditioned with a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma in the Western world in a lot of different ways. You look at these indigenous tribes who have sit with these medicines for centuries. They're not drinking the medicine to heal. They've already healed. They're drinking it to connect to the higher power, to connect to the divine, for information, where to move when the winter comes, how to, when the summer's coming. So this is what you need to prepare for. You're connecting to the divine. You're connecting to God, to source, whatever it is that you call it. But when you sit with plant medicine, you're connecting to your higher self, to you, and you're just getting clarity on how you need to move. But if you're not using those tools, you're not integrating those tools in the world, you're going to just fall right back into the rat race.
Yeah. Wow. That was like a soundbite that I feel like can just be clipped and just re-listened to. Yeah, it's also interesting too, because I know your wife comes from a religious background, and I'm Jewish, didn't grow up super religious, but I'm leaning into different communities. And one of the things that's interesting in some of the, I guess, lashback, I wouldn't even say it's lashback, some of the feedback, I guess, that I would get, or some of the common questions are, why do you need mushrooms, or why do you need ayahuasca to connect to God, to connect to this higher consciousness, to connect to this source energy? And the way that I explain it is, it's not something that I need. For me, it's a tool that takes my level of awareness to another level. And then guess what? Every single day I'm praying. Every single day I'm connecting to my breath and nourishing my body with the food and the energy that I know is going to keep my connection strong. And I think a lot of times people from really religious backgrounds have these stigmas and these stories and these programs that prevent them from actually opening up to these new possibilities and these new opportunities to connect with God in an even deeper way. And I'm excited personally because, bro, when I was in Israel, bro, I served mushrooms to, let me start that back. When I was in Israel, in Jerusalem, which I would love for you to visit at some point.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, bro. I think you would just.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But when I was in Israel, in Jerusalem, the holiest city in the world, for the first time, I shared mushrooms with ultra-Orthodox Jews. And for me, that was such a big moment, because I feel like so many people that come from that background are so closed-minded and judgmental. Mm-hmm. And for them to open up and receive the medicine was such a eye-opening experience for me, because I'm like, wow, the consciousness is shifting. And rather than being divisive, we're actually realizing, like, wow, maybe there are these other tools that can help elevate my consciousness. And then, like, if you look in the Bible and you look in there's so many references in the Bible to different psychedelics and plant medicines. I mean,
Jesus was a plant medicine facilitator. I'll say it. He was a plant medicine facilitator.
I want to hear more about that. But I mean, if you just look in the Bible, there are countless references to plant medicine and psychedelics. For example, the burning bush, Moses, right? That burning bush was an acacia tree. Moses was inhaling the smoke from that acacia tree, which deepened his connection to God and allowed him to do some pretty cool things. Mm-hmm. And when I meet people who are so religious and they're so resistant to opening themselves up to just the potential to learn more about plant medicine or mushrooms, it's a little triggering, but at the same time, I understand, like, their time will come too.
Absolutely. No, and again, everybody's on their own journey. And, what I always present, and I always say, not all plant medicines are psychedelics. And, I use, like you said, it's a tool to expand your awareness even more. And then when you come out of that setting, your awareness is expanded. You're going to walk in that vibrational state for the next, however many weeks, until I call it a reset. I like to reset every 3 weeks, right? It's just you're rewiring, resetting, recalibrating your mind, your brain, your body to then go back. It's almost like rebooting. You're just rebooting yourself. Yeah. And you don't have to do it through a psychedelic. You can do it through breath work. You can do an intense breath work. I've done some intense breath work that have gotten me on a similar psychedelic feel, to where I feel connected, I feel grounded, I feel one with the collective, and I have the clarity in my mind that I would have in a psilocybin sitting or an ayahuasca sitting, right? And there's many modalities, many techniques, many ways ancient ways, ancient practices, sound healing, yoga, meditation, breath work, non-psychoactive, not plant medicines that are non-psychedelic, sananga, hape, certain plant medicines that allow you to just become grounded, right? Become grounded and really connect to the frequency that, you know, of the source, right? Of you. And you're able, it just, and give you clarity. Yeah, psychedelics is a great tool. It's a tool. It's not like a end all being, like, oh, I take psychedelics, like I'm going against, you know, my religion or whatever. No, it's a tool that'll help you connect whatever it is that you believe in. It'll probably enhance everything that you believe in even more, right? Like, I always argue that. I always say, like, I've had Christians go sit with the medicine, come out, be like, yes, more. Like, that is beautiful, right?
We all
like,
get disconnected, bro.
Right.
Like, at some point in our human experience, we all get consumed by the material world, and we get consumed by distractions, and we forget our true essence.
Right.
And what psychedelics and mushrooms and ayahuasca have the ability to do is help remind us who we are.
Right.
On a soul level. And once you have that experience, you can't unsee it.
Can't.
So you're able to use that as a reference point to understand, like, hey, wow, I have limitless potential. I am so grateful for this human experience. I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm going to do my best not to forget about who I am and my essence and my soul and expression. And really, that's another beautiful tool too. I'm curious to know, like, has it helped you? Has your experience with plant medicine helped you in terms of, like, self-expression and speaking your truth? Because there's this old adage, you know, with athletes where it's like, shut up and dribble, shut up and play.
Right.
And I think seeing people like you, seeing people like Aaron, seeing people like Novak Djokovic, I'm a big tennis fan, to see the level of hate he got when he's the #1 player in the world. He missed out on like 4 or 5 major tournaments, wasn't able to play in them, and he was so true to his values and vision. And I just have a lot of respect for that. So, Did the medicines help you kind of open up this new channel through your throat?
Yeah, I mean, it just allowed me to just not care what people thought about me or said about me, right? This is my game. This is my life, in a sense. This is I'm not going to allow somebody else to dictate how I feel. Like, how am I going to allow somebody else that isn't doing what I'm doing, isn't walking in my shoes, tell me a specific X, Y, or Z opinion, whatever that may be, and affect the way that I move? Like, to me, that's one thing that I've been able to let go of. Like, I just don't care. Like, I just really could care less, to be honest. And, you know, I have a family that I love dearly. That's the only, you know, I move for them, right? I move for the people around me, obviously, and the collective, but, like, I don't care what you're going to say and your voice, your opinion about how, you know, how I played or how I'm moving or what I'm saying, because it doesn't matter.
Well, I think what you're saying, and like what I think people get this misunderstood, right? Where it's like this whole zero fucks given mentality.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not like I care zero fucks. I care a lot. It's just about, I care only about a certain number of people that are super close to me, like family, friends. You're open to feedback.
Absolutely.
But it's just not being a slave to the opinions of other people.
Right, because it's energy, right? The world is energy, and there's every day something, somewhere, somebody is like, there's a yin and a yang, a positive and a negative. And so somebody is saying something negative or saying something that you feel is negative inside of you, and you feed that negativity is just going to keep rolling. Like, I'm going to see something that somebody says about me, and now I'm going to feel like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or like, I'm going to feel sad, or like, now I'm going to feel threatened by whoever that may be, and like, that's going to affect now how I move. Like, so like, that's why I don't even have a Twitter. Like, I don't have nobody's gonna message me like and say anything that's gonna, hurt my feelings if I played bad, and they're gonna be like, hey Jay, you should have did this or should have did that. Like, cool, I love you, have a great day. You feel me?
Did that shit bother you early in your career?
It did, right? Like, especially when social media started becoming a thing, because it's like, like I work very hard and I try my very hardest to be out here playing the game. Played enough football to where some games go your way, some games they don't. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. And like, that's just how it goes. And so like, sometimes when you're on the wrong end of a ball bouncing, like, for a week, it could be tough on a young athlete of just hearing all the negativity that is just dropped into your bucket every day. It's just how bad you are, or how, should be cut, or should be this, or should be that. Like, right? Like, but like, you have to learn how to, the person would say, hey, yeah, well, you make X amount of dollars, you should, be able to deal with that. Well, why do we value money? Like, why you're the one valuing money to justify that I should be okay with dealing with XYZ negativity that's said all week about, a certain player, about whatever. But I'm making XYZ amount of money, so I should be okay to deal with that. So you're the one valuing the money. You value the money is making you feel like it's okay. Like, I don't go to a doctor's office and sit here and say, oh, he did a bad job at his surgery, oh, blah, blah, blah. But like, that's the sports world we live in. Like, it doesn't make, like, to me, that doesn't make any sense to me, and like, at the time, that's how I thought about it. And like, I still kind of think of it like that, but I just don't care anymore. I don't spend enough time to put my energy into like caring, right? Like, I'll spend my time putting my energy into loving my family, talking and having great conversations with people like you, doing the things that serve me.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. One of the things that stood out to me too, when I was reading a little bit about Aaron Rodgers' journey with psychedelics, and there was this headline like, Aaron Rodgers credits magic mushrooms for his new $200 million contract. Mm-hmm. And I think he won back-to-back MVPs in like 2020, 2021. And what's interesting about that is I doubt he became that much better of a quarterback. Like, his arm strength, his accuracy, all of the tools and skills were there.
Right.
However, I think where the biggest shift was like you were saying, the way he was showing up as a teammate, with more presence, with more love, with more compassion. And then how is that going to impact the locker room? Your guys are going to want to go that much harder for you.
Right.
Because they see like, yo, this guy fucking cares.
Right.
And I think that's why psychedelics are such a valuable tool for like entrepreneurs and leaders, because it's stressful, right? Like you said earlier, life is going to always hand us obstacles and challenges and adversities. And what our job is to not get reactive, to not get triggered, but to remain grounded and approach every obstacle as an opportunity to elevate our consciousness and to show up in the most powerful way.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's accurate in terms of his leadership and the way he was showing up? And then also, did you notice a shift with how you were showing up in the locker room?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, being present is, the biggest one of, I look back and wonder at all the probably the cool little conversations I missed, or cool little details that I missed of me just not being present in the locker room, or not just being, maybe just I'm sitting on my locker and just scrolling through my phone instead of like connecting to my teammates, right? And connecting to the people around me. Hey, what's up? How's your day? Even if he was on his phone scrolling, just finding a way to connect somewhere and build those relationships, because you're with these guys for 6 months out the year. And so, and like you said, it wasn't that he gained some arm strength with his medicine or he ran faster. He was just more aware. He was more detailed. Each moment, each play that he's studying, each note that he's writing, each thought that he's having, it's more detailed. And just that is the edge that I think is the edge that society is essentially missing. It's just that little sense of awareness of how you're doing things instead of just doing them. It's like having the awareness that you're doing it, and so like do it, if that makes sense. It's like we just kind of sometimes blindly are walking through the world Whether we're, maybe we get up in the morning and we go for a walk and, we're doing it so that we stay healthy and whatnot. But like, no, like go for a walk, like look around.
Yeah.
Like be in the walk.
Yeah.
Like every step is the walk. Like you're not just doing it to just check off a box. Like let's be in the walk.
Enjoy the experience.
Enjoy the experience because
the
it's
birds
all
chirping.
It's all the experience, right?
Yeah.
And again, God has given us so many signs, and so like we're just getting up. I gotta go on my walk, go on my mile walk. I'm just trying to get it over with to check the box so that the doctor says at the end of the week that I did my mile, and then now I'm rushing, getting ready to go to work, and now I'm on my 30-minute drive to work. I'm putting my makeup on and getting the coffee.
It's
over
always
there.
the next
You know
thing.
what I'm saying?
What's
like,
next?
Oh, let's hold on. Like,
Facts, bro. Aho.
Aho,
bro. Aho, man. This is again like what is I think why it's so necessary for you to be on this space. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. Like you're in it so much. So I don't know. Sometimes it's like we need an outsider's perspective to sometimes drop a reflection, but it's really fucking cool to just witness, and I didn't know you before, this awakening or whatever, but I just feel like God put you here, bro, for a very specific reason. And I'm just excited to continue witnessing the journey. And I was also just having this vision, bro. Of like every single NFL coach from all 32 teams sitting in an ayahuasca ceremony together. Bro, can you imagine the positive impact that would have? Obviously on each of the coaches' personal life, their family life, but the way that they show up and lead their team, their staff. Like if we can get to a place where the most influential and impactful leaders in the world are leaning into tools like ayahuasca and plant medicine, we are going to really finally create this collective consciousness that we're capable of. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about politicians. I'm talking about head coaches. I'm talking about musicians, artists, actors, actresses, athletes, the most influential people in the world getting into safe spaces where they can experience this medicine and really just awaken this new level of consciousness. That's the vision that I have for the world, bro.
Absolutely. Why not? And
Let's go.
Absolutely. Teams are going to be doing that here pretty soon. I guarantee within the next 10, 15 years, there's going to be big name teams that are going to go sit together with plant medicine.
Have you guys had, what is that like? Because I know there's different, in the off season, like guys will train together. Maybe they'll do like a weekend retreat somewhere. But like, are there any teams right now who do like off season retreats where it's like?
No, bro, that's what I'm saying. It's like in the off season, we train all of our muscles, but like, why are we not training our minds? Like, why are we not, we're going on vacation, going to party, going to Cancun, going to Mexico, doing all this partying, but like let's train our minds. Like, let's train, our thoughts. Let's let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, and so that we can move in a world that will serve us. And it's always fascinating to me, and again, I always got to put myself in the position that like I was, that guy as well, right? Like, and so everybody's on their own journey, but at the same time, this is the medicine, man. This is we're in it, and it's coming. I do believe that it's coming in the next 5-10 years. So
I want to know, and I'm just pulling this up to show to Santiago. I want to know for you, this is perfect, Santi. I'm going to hit you on WhatsApp. This is the type of stuff that I want to create, especially starting with this episode. Just do it. This is why I love, oh man. It's not even, I didn't microdose today, but this is why I love this shit right now. Like just connecting with other aligned high-level leaders, because bro, you're disconnected from distractions, and like you'll say something that just sparks an idea for me. And I'm like, oh man, like I just want to let you keep talking because you're literally just feeding me ideas, bro. Like I'm just out here eating and it feels so good, bro. Like I'm in a fasted state, but I'm so like, I'm devouring this shit right now.
Good for you, brother.
Yeah, no.
You're fasting right now?
Yeah, like I had a little smoothie, but especially a day like today, it's very energy intensive and like presence.
Nice. Okay.
So I'll have a couple coffees and just a lot of water and maybe something light, but like I don't want to weigh down. Because going back to what you said, it's like, man, when you eat a heavy meal, it fucks with your brain.
Absolutely.
And people don't understand that, bro. And people don't understand that,
that's what you talk about, break a fast, like breakfast. Like breakfast is really like, it was a made up thing, right? Like it's, they call it breakfast, it's breaking a fast, but it's like you're supposed to be fasting really most of the day, right? We're only supposed to have 1 or 2 meals a day. You're not supposed to be eating as soon as you wake up in the morning. And I like to move when I'm hungry. I like to kind of move in the world on a hungry stomach. I like to kind of go into a games on a hungry stomach because it's like, I feel like I'm like, come on, like I need it more, right? Like I gotta have it more. It's not like I eat the food and now I'm just like, okay, like I'm good. It's like, no, I want to go in hungry. Like I'm hungry, but I'm locked in. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
No, it's crazy. You mentioned that. Like breakfast is a massive scam.
Right.
Like the whole idea of breakfast being the most important meal of the day is complete bullshit. You look at what most kids are eating first thing in the morning. It's like sugars that are laced with sugar, artificial sweeteners, artificial food dyes, Pop-Tarts, bread with all this enriched bleached flour and toxins and glyphosate, orange juice that is from concentrate and doesn't actually have real oranges in it. Like this is why so many kids have ADHD, autism, obesity. It's because we've been programmed to believe these bullshit narratives that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Let me give the people watching and listening a challenge. Like for 1 week, don't eat until noontime. Literally, you wake up 6 or 7 p.m. You can have a cup of black coffee, some good quality hydration. See what that feels like. See what it feels like to not be a slave, to not be dependent on stuffing your face with food that is oftentimes poison, you know? And that's a great way to program a country to be sheep, is by telling them, hey, breakfast, most important meal of the day. Yeah, cereal, Pop-Tarts, bagels, donuts. And then you literally feel like a piece of shit the rest of the day. Because cognitively, how are you supposed to function if you're feeding yourself trash? 90% of your serotonin comes from your gut. So if you're feeding yourself trash, you're gonna be thinking like trash. It's very simple.
Bro, it's so simple, but it's also like come on now, let's wake up a little bit. Like, and it's not even just breakfast. Like that, you can go down that whole cycle. The fluoride in the water, the all the food ingredients that they're trying to feed us. You can go down the cycle, bro. Like, let's just become more aware of what we put in our bodies. When did
you start becoming aware of like fluoride and I imagine nutrition has always pretty much been important for you, like since you became a pro athlete?
Not always, right? I always had a weird, like I have to eat so much to like gain a lot of weight, right? And like my body's naturally like 185 pounds. That's like a natural, like during the season, I have to eat a lot of calories. And like, that's one thing that I don't necessarily like, right? Like my body's naturally 185 pounds, but like I have to play at, 200 pounds, sometimes 197 to 200 pounds. But so like in order to do that, I have to eat so much throughout the season, especially like in the middle of the season when you've played some games. But it's just like, that was a struggle with me when I started to transition into like eating more cleaner. Like that struggle has stayed with me. But like, cause I had always struggled with my weight during the football season, right? Like
You have a fast metabolism. Like you're naturally, I'm the same way. So sometimes it's like a struggle. Sometimes I have to eat just because I'm like, yo, I didn't really eat that much today. I know I need to eat more nutrients.
Right. Which was tough, you know, for my whole career. But, you know, now that I've transitioned and, you know, just like I said, like putting better stuff in my body, I feel so much better. And I don't eat till 6 p.m. So
really, are you on that OMAD life? That one meal a day?
It's just 1 meal a day. Well, I don't know what OMAD is, but
like 1 meal a day.
1 meal a day. Yep. That's what. Okay.
1 meal a day.
1 meal a day, and my wife cooks me a nice little meal around 6, 7 o'clock. I feel like I function a lot better. Like
in the off season, you do this.
In the off season, I can't do that in the season. I would die,
bro.
But no, I feel a lot better. I function a lot better. I think a lot better, a lot more clear. I work out a lot stronger. You know, if I do work out, I'll have a small meal after I work out. But yeah, it's just 1 meal a day. When I go to the Amazon, it's not going to be even 1 meal a day. It might even be just half a meal a day, but I'm excited about that, though.
Chewing on some coca leaves.
I can't wait, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be dope. Can we talk a little bit about your journey with alcohol?
Sure.
So I believe, I think in your player, by the way, we should link this in the show notes to Jordan's video for the Players Tribune. I think that was back in 2021, 2022, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a 12-minute video. It's really powerful, though. And, you know, March 13th, 2020 was your last drink of alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know, like, you were so disciplined throughout your childhood, throughout your high school. When did alcohol become a problem for you?
Really probably when I got to college, when I was, you know, kind of away from my parents for the first time, I guess. And, you know, coming from a small town and kind of being, call it, sheltered a little bit, I didn't really get out much. And so, you know, once I got to Corvallis and Eugene and seeing kind of the, call it, real world, what I thought, I started to see, like, athletes party, athletes drink, you know, girls here, girls there, and, you know, this is just the lifestyle that it is, and, you know, follow along with it or get left behind. And so I just hopped on there. I always had this ideology in the back of my head that, you know, my real father, he's an alcoholic, and he's been in and out of prison his whole life, and, you know, my mom had struggled with alcohol for a long time. She's been sober for 5 years now, but struggled with alcohol for a long time. So it was kind of always a good excuse for me to drink, and like, oh, you got it in your blood, bro. Like you just part of who you are, right? And so that kind of led me down the path of just going out all the time, partying, drinking, you know, women, just getting just in a lot of trouble, doing just a lot of different dumb shit. And then that, you know, transferred into the NFL where, you know, I didn't know how to put the drink down. It was like I would go to practice, and like on my way home from practice, I remember this specific store. I would stop in there and grab the same 6-pack of IPA every day, just chug it before I went home.
You would drink a whole 6-pack?
Whole 6-pack of IPA, glass bottles, chug it right down the neck before I get home. And that wouldn't even give me like that much of a buzz. It would give me enough of a buzz to like feel good about like, okay, I get to go home and not have to kind of loosen up from the day, and then like just like kind of have an excuse to be sloppy at home.
And this was during the season? This
was during the season. This was probably like, it was really bad my first couple years in Buffalo. That was probably the worst that it was, of me actually realizing that I had a problem and not doing anything about it. Beforehand, I didn't really realize I had a problem. It really wasn't until kind of Aaliyah was born that I started to see like alcohol was affecting my relationship with my wife and like my relationship as to being a father. There were certain things that if I was drinking, I couldn't do, and that all led up to an off season. You know, after it was like 2019. It was 2019 after we played the Texans in a playoff game. We ended up losing, and it was a heartbreaking game. It was like overtime, and we ended up losing, and it was like at the peak of my just alcoholism. And I played good, but we lost, and for like 3 weeks straight, just took bottles to the head, fucking IPAs, whatever I could get my hands on. And Rach, my wife at the time, like, she had already been fed up. She had been fed up. I look back and she should have been left me long before. Like, she hung around, but she hung around and she supported me, gave me the love that I needed. But there was a moment where it was like I hit a rock bottom. I woke up from a nap one day after putting her down for a nap, and I woke up from it and I was like paralyzed. I couldn't move. Like, I just couldn't move. Aaliyah's asking me, like, Daddy, let's go play. And I just couldn't move. So I like grabbed my phone. My phone's on the edge. I pick it up. I was like, bro, come in here. My brother was at the house. He came. I was like, bro, can you just take Aaliyah for a little bit? Like, I just can't move. And like, bro, I passed out on that bed. I didn't wake up till like the next day.
Wow.
And then it was like that moment really hit me. Like, to not be able to like be there in that moment for my daughter, and it was kind of a huge wake up call in my life. I don't know, for some reason it just had always sat sick with me, like not being able to like play with my daughter because of alcohol. And that was the same reason why my real dad and my mom's relationship didn't work, was because of alcohol. So I ended up taking that to heart, bro, and going to AA. Went to AA for like 3 months. I mean, AA is beautiful. So many beautiful people I met in AA, and end up, riding it one day at a time. That's what they say in that life, just one day at a time. You know, you can't look too far ahead and be like, look, 4 months of no alcohol, it seems so far away, but it doesn't work like that. You literally just take one day at a time, and it turns into almost 5 years, man. March 13th, 5 years. 5 years of no alcohol, but it's been a blessing. It's been a journey. All of it with it and all of it without it. You know, it's all the same. So thankful for the experiences and the lessons that I was able to attain from those, and thankful for the awareness that I have now to be able to support my family and love my family the way that I know I can.
Bro, thank you for sharing that.
I appreciate it, bro.
It's interesting to think about, where you would be right now without your daughter. I'm sure you think about that a lot too, right?
All the time, yeah.
And, I've had a lot of friends. I can't wait to be a dad sometime in the near future. And I know a lot of people who, like, their children were their reason for, like, getting out of a dark place.
Right.
Because I can imagine there's probably no shittier feeling than not even being able to provide for your daughter. Like, provide in the form of just getting up and like playing with her.
Yeah, safety was like my biggest thing. Like, what if something happened right now, like in the house, and like you had to protect your daughter? That hurt.
That's crazy that you were. Oh man, how do you think? I mean, intuitively, I would imagine that the alcohol would negatively impact your performance on the field. Do you feel like it did, or do you feel like maybe it just provided you an escape so you could show up consistently every day and do your job?
I think it did provide me an escape, and I didn't even realize it at the time, like that it was like my escape, because really when I left the football field, it was like I was trying to escape from the actual world around me, and because I didn't know how to handle the actual world around me, whether it was my relationship with my wife, whether it was my daughter, me being a brand new dad, whether it was I just started playing well on the football field too, and so I started getting all these accolades, all these things people talking about me, and like saying Jordan he's great at this, he does this, he's making picks, so it was like a whirlwind of shit happening, like. Oh, just a whirlwind, and I just was not ready or prepared for. And alcohol was my way to escape from that. It was my way to run away from it and give myself an excuse and give myself an out, call it. But my daughter, saved my life. My wife saved my life. I mean, I'm so thankful for both of them. Just my wife, especially, just because, there's so many times she could have left, and just, and if she did, honestly, I probably would have kept drinking, and who knows what that version of myself in another reality looks like right now. I just send them love, and I send them love, and know that, you know, we're doing all right. You know, we're doing all right, and we're figuring it out. But yeah, family's my everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, bro, because that's what I think. That's, again, why I think you're such a valuable person, that what we need right now as a collective, because obviously, you know, you have this level of success and credibility playing at the highest level, right? So there's already so many people that are inspired by that, but then it's your transition in this journey of really just going inward and cultivating that self-love for yourself, and also identifying some of your shortcomings and committing to showing up as a better version of you so you can serve your wife, your daughter, God at a higher level. And I think, honestly, bro, like, that's what we need, and that's really what I'm inspired most by. You know, obviously I think it's fucking dope that, you know, I get a jersey of you and all of these things, and that's fucking amazing. But like, beyond the surface, it's the other shit, bro. It's like what you're speaking to now is really why I wanted to get you here, and just sharing your heart and your journey. There's a couple more things I want to touch on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So regarding alcohol, by the way, it's so crazy because going back to COVID, so you came to Miami or Florida probably after the initial 6 months, because I was actually living on the beach at this dope spot. And dude, for the first 6 months, from like March to September 2020, they had caution tape on the entrances to the beach. All the outdoor gyms were caution taped. Like, the gyms were closed. All of these things were closed. Parks, beaches, gyms, right? But liquor stores remained open.
Crazy.
During the pandemic. And that's when I was like, wait a second. Wait. Liquor stores are considered essential business, but if people want to get outside and get vitamin D and connect to nature, or go work out in the gym, these things that are going to actually boost their immunity and prevent them from getting sick, those things are closed. Those things are banned. That's when I was like, something bigger is happening right now, and we need to fucking wake up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when we talk about alcohol, especially in a place, and in most parts of the world, alcohol is so normalized. It's even glorified. It's the only drug in the world that you have to defend yourself if you don't want to do it. You can be at a restaurant or a bar or a club, and someone offers you a drink. It's like, nah, bro, I'm good. It's like, what do you mean? What's wrong with you?
Right.
And it's crazy when you think about that. And something else that I've been thinking about and like exploring more is, you know, obviously alcohol has a massively destructive impact on the liver, and the liver is actually responsible for anger, right? And that's a big reason why most people with alcohol addiction, or the people who are drunks, are oftentimes angry and destructive. You don't see a lot of people who are alcoholics who are like really positive, really grateful. It's because they're destroying their liver, and then energetically they're tapped into this frequency of anger, which is really what causes so much destruction within themselves and with their families and loved ones. So, you know, I hope your journey with alcohol, and just like you sharing it openly, can inspire others to also look into potentially pursuing that path.
Right. No, and look, nobody's perfect, and we all have demons. And, you know, I even look at alcohol differently now. Like, I look at it as a poison, right? Like, I look at it as something that disconnects us from our true essence, right? Like, when you drink alcohol, like, you're not connected to you. You're connected to what they call it, spirits. They call alcohol, they literally call it spirits. And so, like, what spirits are you inviting when you're drinking it? And it's okay maybe to have a wine, but like when you're really drinking the alcohol, you are not yourself. You are getting connected to spirits, certain spirits that are attaching to you, that are allowing you to like feel this way, feel this loopy, and maybe say whatever it is, maybe make this decision that you know you wouldn't have made sober, but you're drunk, and so like you're making it anyway, right? Like it's to me, it's like that's the disconnect. And there's many ways that the Matrix tries to disconnect us from our true self. Like we're in a spiritual warfare right now. Like we're literally in the middle of a spiritual war, a war on consciousness. And the idea is to disconnect you from yourself so that you don't realize the power that resides within you. How do we do that? Let's put fluoride in the water. Let's make these people eat all this breakfast food, all these foods that don't serve them. Let's put some alcohol on this every corner while COVID is here, so that they're locked inside, but they still got to go drink some alcohol to continue to disconnect them, to continue to serve that anger spirit, that anger vibration, and to keep them on this low frequency vibration. As long as we keep y'all on this low vibrational state of mind, you will never ascend. We can keep you here as long as we can, but you will never ascend if you're living in that low. This is a game, a war on consciousness. We collectively need to ascend, to collectively realize what's going on in order for us to become the humanity and evolution that we're supposed to be, right? Like if we continue to make the same mistakes over and over again, continue to point the finger that, oh, it's your fault I'm in this position. No, we are one. This is a collective. We're here together. This is not, and when you see that they're trying to literally hurt us and harm us through certain things, like, let's go. Like, this is bigger than me versus you. This is bigger than this game this weekend. This is bigger than what the hell you got going on tomorrow on the golf course. You feel me? Like, this is collectively, we are being under attack, and we need to know that there is a war going on. There is a war on our minds going on, so that we become aware and manipulate the war and manipulate the energies and move how we need to move. That's just, it's simple. It's to me, it's simple. It's like, let's just become more aware of what the hell is going on. But like some of that, we have to drop our belief system into thinking like, I know everything, when, hey, let's become open to information and open to other ideas so that we can grow together. Right? Instead of just, oh, no, you just said this, oh, you know, they were putting alcohol on every store during COVID, or on every corner during COVID, and they were closing down the gyms. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. They weren't doing that to harm you. They had to do that because it was an essential business. You know, the gyms aren't an essential business, and the liquor store was, and so you're a conspiracy theorist. Like, come on, yo. Like, let's have real conversations about what's happening around us, right? And become better versions of ourselves. We are a collective.
Go off, Jordan Poyer, dog. What the fuck? Damn, I feel bad even interrupting some of these flows, but I got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's my job.
It's your job, bro. You got to do it.
Yeah, it was crazy as you were saying that. I was like, okay. If I was to... If my job was to destroy a society or civilization, what would I do? I would put fluoride in the tap water. I would calcify people's pineal gland and disconnect from their highest intelligence. I would make alcohol and porn easily accessible for the masses. I would prescribe Adderall and label all these brilliant children with ADHD, which is just absolutely disconnecting them from their brilliance.
Come on now.
We would force jabs on people, and we would also just continue glorify things like vaping and these different coping mechanisms that are really just forms of escapism. And I think that is the biggest culprit, bro, are the quick hits of dopamine and instant gratification. And especially as men, in our masculine energy, our sexual energy, if we really want to ascend and become the best version of ourselves, we need to control our sexual energy and direct it towards things that are actually impactful and purposeful.
Right.
Whether that's a workout, whether that's building a business, whether that's taking care of our family, whatever it may be. But it's our responsibility to really withstand the temptation of instant gratification.
Absolutely.
and prioritize our vision and our values. And that's where the magic happens. I did want to ask just a couple more football questions.
Please do.
Because I know there's going to be people that want to know. Like I was asking you downstairs, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, even someone like Lamar Jackson, right? Like, I mean, you've played against fucking everyone these last 12 years.
Played
right?
all three of those.
Yeah, like let's actually just start there. Tom Brady, and you played them twice a year because you're in the same conference.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, man? And what do you think it is beyond his football that makes him the GOAT?
Well, since my ego's dead, I will say I am 0-11 against Tom Brady. I played him 11 times, 0-11. I did pick him off for a touchdown. We lost that game. So I picked him off twice, though, back-to-back years. But playing him, you knew you just had to – I mean, playing all three of those guys that you just mentioned, playing any good quarterback, you knew you had to be on your shit. And you knew, like – pre-snap and post-snap movement was important, just trying to get the quarterback to just think just a half second longer to give your D-line time to get there. And so, like, all the movement, the games with your shoulders, with your eyes, like making eye contact. And, like, it's just a game within a game, right? It's just like a chess match going between defenders and quarterbacks each and every play, right? Like, on TV, we just see the snap, sit, hike. And you see the play, but no, there's, those 15 seconds leading up to that snap, there's a lot of information being gathered by both sides of the football, right? And so being able to sometimes manipulate that information that, the other team's trying to gather. And so you're maybe showing something that you're not in, but you're going to run to something that you're going to get in. So there's a lot of cat and mouse game that goes in it. And again, I never beat Brady, but playing against him, though, it came a couple of times where we did, you just had to be on your stuff. And same with Mahomes. And like any of these great teams, great offenses, like, I mean, the NFL every week is like, every week is any given Sunday, but like, going into certain games, like you have to be on your stuff pre and post snap communication, making sure just everybody's on the same page. Cause the game comes down to inches and it's really like, I don't know if you play golf, but it's really just like the game of golf is just like who messes up first. That's really like football at the end of the day. It's just like who messes up first. And so like you try to limit your mess ups, I guess, like trying to limit on defense. You have certain philosophies, like we're not going to give up big plays, over the top. We're not going to give up a shot over the top. We're going to tackle well. We're not going to any pre and post whistle penalties. Like we can't have those. Like there's certain philosophies, certain teams go by that you kind of stand on, your fundamental things, and then you just be able to go play. But those are some of the greatest quarterbacks that have ever played the game that you just named. And so like, they're playing those guys. You definitely know what type of game it's going to be, though.
What was your mindset going into playing New England at the time? Was there like excitement, like I get to go against the greatest?
Absolutely. And I still have that ball locked up in a case that no one can even look at my house. So I knew going into those games, like if I can make a play or we can win this game, like this is the GOAT. So like you go out there and like just go balls to the wall. And if you lose, you just lost to the GOAT. So it's, it's a kind of a win-win situation going into a game. And so like just got to go out there and play free, which I usually try to do every single game. But it's like, yeah, you're playing Tom Brady, playing in Buffalo for 7 years. He was there for I think 6 of those 7 years. So we got to see him twice a year. Frustrating because he just was so good. He knew where to go with the football. He knew how to play situational football. He was like a coach out there. He was like, imagine Tom Brady as like the best coach in the NFL. Like, okay, now put a quarterback or put a jersey on him. That best coach in the NFL is able to go out there and actually throw the football, which is crazy.
Next question. Do you think Tom Brady has dabbled with psychedelics at all?
Do I think Tom Brady has dabbled with psychedelics? It's interesting conversation because like I thought about like Giselle and the space that she's in and like the spiritual element of the space that she is kind of tapped into. And like, I wonder if Tom was ever introduced to that space on a spiritual level, in a sense. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. But would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he has.
Do you think there's a decent amount of players in the NFL that have explored psychedelics and plant medicine that just haven't been outspoken about it?
I don't think so. I don't. I really don't, because I think it's so, right now, it's so foreign and so kind of against, call it league policy, even though marijuana is against league policy, everybody's smoking weed, but like the altered state is not something to where ego-driven men are trying to explore at this point of their lives, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think a big reason for that is because a lot of the stigma around psychedelics is like these fucking white hippie dudes with big ass beards and shit like that, which I think is refreshing. Like, I know I've resonated with a lot of people because they know I'm super tapped into all things health, right? Like, before I ever pursued this path, and those things are absolutely paramount for me. They're non-negotiables. Like, so there's not a lot of people that look like you that are in this space. And that's why, again, I think it's so important, because you're just going to open up so many minds and hearts, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't like, that's why I'm just like, I want to do anything I can to support you in whatever you're building. Because I know that it's literally just scratching the surface, and it's going to be insanely profound. I guess, more just out of my selfish curiosity, best receivers you've gone against, if you can name like 2 or 3 that were just like, fuck, man, this week is going to be a battle.
Yeah, I'd have to put Julio Jones, that I've gone against. It would have to be Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, AB.
I think he could benefit from psychedelics.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He would be the spokesperson of psychedelics if he came back from an ayahuasca retreat. Let's see, who else? I mean, there's so many good receivers, bro. It's hard to just like, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is good, bro. And him and Joe Burrow are good, like, together. That's a fun dynamic to watch play. Jefferson from the Vikings is probably just one of the most, like gifted, just skill set receivers coming off the line of scrimmage, ball skills, being able to go get a ball, win one-on-one coverage. There's a couple receivers that are coming up too. Nico Collins had a great year. I like his game, his size, his physicality, and his ability to run routes and create separation on DBs. And so, you can go down the list of CeeDee Lamb, great receiver. He's in my top 10. I wouldn't put him in this.
Are you talking shit to these guys, Jordan?
Absolutely not. I would never talk shit to anyone, because they're all the best.
I know.
But never done it, But if you gave me a top 10 that I've ever played against, I've played against a lot of receivers.
So
he's up there. He's in there for sure.
But I imagine there's times, because I imagine there's times where you're like maybe you break up a pass, or you just crack someone. There's some shit talking going on, right?
Yeah.
Or are you more quiet?
Yeah, I think I used to talk a lot more shit. I think I started to conserve my energy a little bit more because I know when somebody talks shit to me, I get hyped, and I'm like, all right, motherfucker, let's go. So sometimes you don't want to say wake them up if you're playing good and you're dominating somebody, and you say one thing, and then they're like, okay, motherfucker, let's go then. And now you kind of woken up a beast. And so I like to play the cat and mouse game. If I'm whooping your ass, I'm gonna just hey, good job, buddy. Good try. Good luck next time.
It's the nice shit. That's probably even more annoying.
Yeah, so I'm that type of shit talker, which is probably annoying, but I don't really care.
As we get ready to wrap this up, man. Santi, how long have we been going?
2 hours and 3 minutes.
For real? Damn. Okay. I'm curious to know, bro. Your entire life up until now, your career, your life as a husband and father, and now this new path that you're pursuing. When you take a moment to reflect, what are you most proud of about yourself?
Man, I'm just thankful that I just kept trusting my heart. So many times I just didn't really have a clue. Didn't really even, I just would wake up and just tell myself to just follow your heart, just keep walking, and even in times where I was confused, right? And even in times where, really, really, really down times, right, in my life, I'm just thankful that I kept going and kept moving, and never really gave up. Even though there were many times that I wanted to, many times that I could have, many times that, I just so many reasons why I could have given up on my family, given up on myself, given up on, the people around me. I'm thankful for just, following my heart and just keep going. And I know, the awareness that I have now, if I keep just following my heart, I can only imagine the awareness that I'll have in 10 to 15 years and where I'll be then, to think of where I was 10 years ago and to think to where I'm at right now.
Right.
Frick, man, I'm figuring it out, I'm figuring it out. So I'm thankful that I'm just, I'm in this space of, awareness, and, I know how to, move my energy and to use my light and to help, bring that light to the collective, the world, my family, most importantly, but then obviously the world around me. And, football's been an amazing gift that God has allowed me to go out and run around and chase football. And my whole life I thought that was what I was brought here to do. And I've came to find that was just a tool, for me to earn this platform that I've been able to build of 12 years of playing and use my voice. And, I do feel like we all came down here in this specific time in 2025, whatever day of the week it is, month, to be part of this awakening, bro. To be part of this time period that we're in as a collective, because we knew how exciting it was going to be here. We've been waiting so many lifetimes to just get to this point. And I'm taking full advantage of it. I'm not looking back and looking over my shoulders, and we're in it, right? We're here, man.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go, baby. Fuck yeah. That's good, man. I'm glad you took some time to acknowledge yourself. I think it's important. Yeah. Wow, this was fun.
This was awesome. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yo, Jay, anything that we didn't touch on today? We could go for 5 or 6 hours, and we'll definitely get around to it at some point.
Absolutely.
But is there anything that's coming up that maybe we didn't get the opportunity to touch on that you just want to share before we conclude this?
Man, so much love. Thank you for allowing me to be on here. You can follow me on the socials, J_Poyer21. I just created a conscious community called Luminate, luminate.mbs on Instagram. We host similar events to Jeremy's. We serve cacao, we do some breath work and some yoga. So I know Jeremy and I are going to try to connect at some point to really collaborate and co-create some really cool things that I know we have in store in the future. So again, just thank you for allowing me to be on your platform to share my heart with you guys, and just know it's love, always love from this way. Appreciate you, brother.
Hell yeah, bro. I mean, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, but I'm just really, really fucking excited, bro, to continue this friendship and brotherhood and see where your journey takes you, man, because it's really just the beginning. And I think one of the really cool things is that most athletes are so scared and fearful for their careers to come to an end. And I think you are actually excited for that next chapter, and you're at peace with everything you've already accomplished and everything you've given to the sport and given to the game. And it's just a beautiful space to be in. And this is really like the starting point. Like, shit is just getting started right now. And the ripples that you're going to continue creating are so massive. And I'm just grateful that I get to be a small part of the journey, bro.
Thank you,
so
brother.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hell yeah. Guys, rate this show. Give this shit two
thumbs up.
Yeah, tag Jordan and I on your Instagram stories and let us know what the biggest takeaway was for you, because literally I took like pages of notes during this conversation. Yes. So connect with us online. Jordan's here to support. And again, if you're in South Florida, come through to one of the events. They're going to continue elevating and getting better and better. So much love.
Yes, sir, brother. Thank you. After this, you know it, but thank you, brother.
Peace out, y'all. Let's fucking go. We out. You did it. You made it to the end of the show. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your support in listening to this podcast. And really, my mission here is to deliver the best conversations, the best people, so you can continue elevating and becoming the best version of yourself. And all that I ask in return is that you actually take action on the things that we talk about in these conversations, whether it's certain habits to implement or certain thought patterns or belief systems that you want to reprogram and remove from your life. I just want to remind you that your life is your gift. And you are the creator. You are the main character of your movie. So please take action on these things we discuss. And tag me on social media. Tag me on Instagram in your stories at Jeremy Awakens. Let me know what stood out the most to you. Let me know what were some powerful moments for you from this conversation. And finally, if you haven't already done so, it would mean the world if you left a review for the podcast. Word of mouth is our oxygen. This is what allows us to reach more people and impact more lives. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you next time.